Hello everyone, I'm Forceman Freelava, and this is Speedplay Cossacks number 3. We left off with around 11 loans, a massive army that we really can't afford, a good portion of which is mercenaries, probably around half. And we declare war on Korea. They broke their alliance with us by not responding to our second call to arms. However, they broke their alliance with Ming by actually responding to our first call to arms. So they're essentially diplomatically isolated, and we take advantage of that by declaring war. As you may have just seen, we just dominated them in the first battle. We decided to go ahead and start disbanding a few of our mercenaries just so we're not in such a horrific deficit. Unfortunately, we're trapped from going into most of Korea by one of their large forts. We do go ahead and attack their army, and it goes very, very poorly, which is rather unfortunate. I was trying to thread a fine line between saving money and making our army ineffective, and unfortunately kind of missed the mark on that one. At any rate, luckily they came into our own territory. We will get a bonus for fighting in our own lands. You'll notice we're having a bit of an issue with our estates. Hopefully we'll be able to work all that out. In around 2 years they will lose 10 influence, which they got from an event. We do stack wipe the Korean army, which is amazing news, and we begin splitting it up to siege essentially their fort and the 2 provinces we can get for free. We are still hemorrhaging money, our navy is trapped, and really there's not very much we can do at the moment other than hopefully siege this fort and then take as much territory and money as possible from the Koreans. Now, is that exactly a great plan? Perhaps not. And admittedly, at this point, we are sort of caught in a very, very bad spiral, in the sense that we're facing revolts essentially everywhere, which is just terrible news, and we don't have enough money to maintain solvency. Our army is a little too small to really fight the revolt, so we have to keep using our military power to suppress them, and that is not ideal in the slightest. Luckily, we are at least making progress. We've managed to fully win that siege. We can go ahead and attack the Korean army. We just devastate them and split our forces up. We will just spread into the Korean countryside and then to their next fort. Now, hopefully we'll be able to get a decent amount of land from the Koreans. We won't be able to take everything, as their country is rather large. However, we are taking quite a few territories, and that's very great. Now, we're going to also try to take all of their money. Unfortunately, they have less than 100 ducats, which is a terrible, terrible piece of news, as we are in a lot of debt. We also have a rebellion going on, which, well, we'll be able to deal with once we get our forces out of Korea. And unfortunately, one of their armies is besieging their provinces, which is a bit of a hassle, but really nothing we can't deal with. We begin creating 4 new regiments. Not mercenaries, which is important. We will hopefully be able to start saving money on our army by getting just regular troops into the mix. Now, exactly how well that'll go remains to be seen. However, we should be getting a slight boost to our country in a moment. We do split our new army up to go siege those Korean provinces again, and we'll just go ahead and siege all the Korean provinces we can just to get that very nice pillaging money, essentially. We do go ahead and get all that. We begin pillaging the provinces that we can, which is essentially most of them. We're able to repay one of our loans, which is great news. It's a sign of progress. We begin coring everything, and we raise autonomy. Quite frankly, I have had enough of all of these terrible revolts. We need to scale back our efforts. We managed to get attacked by the rebels, and we win that battle, split our army up, and begin unsieging all of our provinces. We've been in a rather tough spot, but it does look as though we may be able to pull through. Things haven't been exactly great for us. We may be able to get the Timurids as an ally. They are not in the best place right now, but they're not in a terrible spot either. We raise autonomy throughout our western provinces, and we just get ready to move against the Oirate and perhaps Mongolia. Hopefully they will have more money than the Koreans had. Our army is still not really something we can support. We are in a lot of debt. Hopefully we'll be able to just take all these Oirate lands with the help of our new distant western allies and hopefully just move into their lands and take them over. Unfortunately, we have a rebellion, and then another rebellion. I want to save our monarch points in order that we may actually advance our military. Now that means we're going to fight these rebels on the field, and since we are planning to fight the Orate, I think it's alright that we spend this money. Now, unfortunately, we have to make a decision between essentially letting rebellions pop up or losing the loyalty of one of our tribes. We do go ahead and we manage to lose that battle, so we're not going to do the revolt plan, and we'll just grant territories to our estate. And then the rebels go ahead and fight one another, which I kind of was hoping that they would do. Preferably that would have happened without them wrecking our army. However, you can't get everything. So with that all said and done, we begin moving our forces over to hopefully engage the enemy. There is another revolt. I am definitely starting to notice just how buffed rebellions are in this new version, as they are just a lot of trouble. The fact that we are essentially in Siberia doesn't help. We have quite a distance to travel between provinces, and our provinces aren't very wealthy, so that's a bit of a hassle. However, we are managing to get our forces together. We are just taking a large amount of loans, and I really don't have any plan to pay them off at this point. However, we just need to get more armies. There's really no getting around that. We need these armies or our country will collapse. We are fighting the rebels. We did win, so we can hopefully move against the Orate Horde. We did call in our Uzbek allies, who are fighting their own horrible series of rebellions, so who knows how much use they'll be. At any rate, we are getting our forces over. Hopefully we'll be able to make this work. We lose a stability, which is a really terrible, terrible thing, as we do not have very much admin power, and every stability we have is just a little protection against just a slew of terrible revolts and fiscal insolvency. So that loss of that little buffer by that loss of stability is not great news for us. We are, however, doing very well against the Orate Horde. Their capital has been sieged out by the Mongols, however they're sieging it back, and they managed to just take it back, so we're going to rush our armies back to their capital and just take it from them very quickly. We may be able to then make peace on fairly good terms, ideally without having to face their army in battle, as they get bonuses for flat land battles in their own territory. And all of our armies are in their territory, and they're mostly flat lands. Interestingly enough, besides their capital, which is great that our army is there. However, we did win a battle with the help of the Uzbek. They pieced out, though, which is kind of bad news, and it nearly leaves one of our armies stranded. We see what we can get from them. We can get a bit. We declare war on the Mongols just to wreck their army before they can do anything about it. And with all of this done, we're in a fairly decent position. We do go ahead and get ready to make peace, as they have their force essentially in a point where it's ready to just start devastating ours. So we do make peace with them, we pillage what we can, and begin to core what we can. And unfortunately, we did lose a battle against the Mongols, and we are going to get colonial expansion, or exploration, I'm sorry, just as a way of spending all of the Diplo points that we have. Ideally, I would like to get humanist ideas coming up. I'm realizing that rebels are a tremendous, tremendous threat, and anything we can do to lower their frequency would be an amazing thing. At any rate, we have managed to just sort of start occupying the Mongols. They do have an army on our capital, and there was just a revolt. At any rate, not exactly a terrible, terrible series of events. We can still pull this together. The Mongols have a very small army, and things are more or less coming together. Now, I am considering just leaving the Mongol army sieging the capital. However, with this new patch, they would immediately turn into Mongol separatist rebels, so I realize that that is not actually a good idea in any form. Luckily, our Korean revolt managed to just go into Japanese Korea, which is great news. We forced the Mongols to renounce a lot of their cores and begin to core their provinces. which is just all around fantastic news. We're going in the right direction. We go ahead and just get a few new ideas, which moves us up a bit and gets coring cost lower, so we can core for a bit cheaper, which is really important. Now, I really want to stop funding our military so that we don't, well, really go bankrupt, essentially. And we are actually just about to go bankrupt, which is terrible news. We try as best we can to just limit our military. We fire our advisor. We have around a month notice, and this is just not great news. Our army is also in progress, just moving between places, so unfortunately we went bankrupt. Now, this is one of those moments where hindsight is 20/20. There are countless things I wish I had done the moment before we went bankrupt. First of all, right now we're going to start releasing vassals in anywhere that's even remotely about to have a revolt, as our army is not going to be capable of dealing with that. They get a pretender rebellion, that's fine. We're just going to let that happen. We have to start giving all of these lands away, as that's the only way we're going to maintain, essentially, even indirect control over those territories. One of the things I wish we would have done, we lost all of our stability, we were no longer coring any of those regions, and we lost all of our admin points. If you guys are ever at the point where you're about to go bankrupt, I really recommend putting all of your points into development. That's something I immediately realized I should have done. And unfortunately, we have a large revolt in a portion of our country. We do get a very nice heir, however, so I go ahead and give him a slightly self-congratulatory name, and we do move our forces in to just try to prevent the Yuran revolters. Korean revolts are just spreading throughout, and our army is not at all able to deal with it. On the bright side, we were paying some absurd amount, somewhere between 8 and 13 ducats a month in interest on our loans. That's gone now. We do go ahead and just peace out with Yuran, giving them all of that land, and Korea, giving them all of their lands as well. Luckily, we still have cores on all of this territory, so as soon as we're no longer bankrupt, we should be able to move back and just reoccupy those territories. We're no longer in any debt, which is great news, just to look at the bright side, and the Korean rebels didn't even want all of Korea. We still have a province there. So really, things may be going very poorly for us, but we have a very nice heir. We still have a Korean province. Our ships just got lost, but we're still in it. We just declared a new war, so we don't have to worry about the Mals for always being at peace. And next time, hopefully we will come back from this. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. We're not done yet. We can bounce back.